Hi, and welcome to today's episode. I'm here with Jordan, one of the players at the Newcastle Eagles, and he's going to talk to us about his own mental health journey with gambling as our key talking point today. So, Jordan, thank you for joining us.
Right.
Really, obviously, as a professional athlete, it is kind of time-consuming, big part of your life. So, just really from the top down, what does your schedule look like? What happens during that day to day?
Yeah, I mean, every day we have training or practice. So in the morning, I'll get in here about 8:30, see the physio, get any treatment that I need. Then we'll get in the weight room before practice, and then we'll start practice at 10, probably go to about 12. And then we do have the afternoon off, so it's good to get some downtime then. But then later on, I'll probably go to the gym again in the evening, maybe get some shots up or go back to the weight room. But yeah, there is a lot of downtime during the day.
And obviously within that, how do you kind of use that time? Do you have time to unwind? What's your kind of go-to thing to help you, I guess, move out of that headspace of being a professional athlete?
Yeah, it's trying to balance it really. A lot of time I use it to communicate with my family. Like I'll FaceTime like my mom and my dad and just kind of let them know how the day went. I'm big on like keeping in contact with them. But I know a lot of players sometimes struggle with that, just trying to stay busy. I know a lot of people just watch movies or kind of maybe watch some basketball films and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just trying to find what works for you.
And obviously within that, do you ever find there's a challenge there? Do you ever kind of catch yourself going, oh, hang on, I might have missed that call or missed that kind of grounding moment? Does that ever happen to you?
Absolutely. Like sometimes you can just get lost in boredom. You might become a little bit lazy just kind of watching movies and things like that. So I think in the past that used to be a lot of the things I used to do. But like as I've got older, I've really tried to be a little bit more active, whether that's, even going for a walk, reading books, or just doing something a little bit more active to keep my brain kind of working throughout the day as well.
So that's obviously a kind of big part of that, because you say with all the time. So obviously you've played, I guess, extensively through your life. So it's always been a big part of your life. As you kind of got older, how have you, how has it changed? Has the sport changed in the way that you kind of feel about it? How do you manage your, because I guess for me, from more of a football background, your emotional connection to the sport, I guess, changes as you get older. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, the dream was always to be a basketball player. And then once you live that dream and you've been doing it for so long, it sometimes does become more like work. Although I have the best job in the world, you still have to make sure that you bring the effort every day, the energy, and, be professional in what you do. So that's challenging in itself on a daily basis. But I've really got better at just telling myself, that I'm really in a real privileged position. I've been in a position where I'm working 9 to 5, doing things that I don't want to do. So I've seen it from the other side of just, things that I don't want to do. So yeah, I just kind of trying to remind myself in the position I'm in.
And it's always, that key thing about having that passion for what you do is always nice to see as well. So with that comes pressure. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with the kind of the pressure element of the job that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm my worst critic. I'm pretty tough on myself in terms of performances and things like that. I'm very self-aware of, how I'm playing. And I just think for me, I'm at a point in my life where I've been given a second opportunity to play at this level. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 30 now, so I'm on the back end of my career. And I just remind myself that, like, I'm not going to be able to play basketball forever. So I just try and treat it as a game that it is, rather than putting so much pressure on myself. And I think, again, like I said, getting that balance of knowing that once the game's done, you still have a life to live. I used to be sad all weekend and put a lot of pressure on myself in the week, and it's like, I can't really live like that. And it's about getting that balance, having a social life, having family life, having other hobbies and interests. So I just try and make sure that, I get that balance right, so that, I don't put too much pressure on myself.
So there's obviously a big key theme of that is that work-life balance, which kind of drives through that all. And obviously from your own perspective, talking about things like stress, do you have any techniques that help you manage your stress levels? Or
I mean, I'm always working on it. I'm trying to find different techniques all the time. But I think just touching base with my family really helps. I'm really close to my mum. We've developed a lot closer relationship in terms of just me being open and honest about a lot of things. And yeah, we're pretty similar in things. So I just, I turn to her in a lot of my issues. And yeah, maybe just kind of, just relaxing, watching some TV or something like that. But to be honest, it's, I'm always working on different areas.
So it's obviously all kind of from a stress and pressure point of view there. But we're going to talk now, of course, about gambling and that side of being a professional athlete, and obviously how tied it is in with sport. Obviously, as mentioned, from a Newcastle perspective, we had our own kind of thing with Tonali. There's obviously England striker Ivan Toney as well. It's never out of the news is, I guess, the key thing from there. Can you tell us just really about your own story with gambling and what that was like?
Yeah, so I say it developed in America when I was in college, where I'd go into the casino. We would drive about 45 minutes away, and we're students, by the way. So I'd drive 45 minutes away, and I'd have like $100, and I'd put it on red or black, and then that would either make my weekend or it would destroy my weekend. And that's like the early signs of me realizing that I didn't have money management. I didn't have control over my money, but because I didn't have true responsibility of paying rent, paying bills, it didn't really hurt me until I turned professional. So my first year playing at London Lions, it was a very up and down season in terms of finances. That's when it became an addiction, and I ended up spending my whole wage each month on gambling. I was struggling times to eat, to get the bus to practice. Like, there were so many different situations I'd get myself in. Sometimes I'd win and get myself out of it, but at this point, by the end of the season, I had nothing to show for myself. Was in a lot of debt, in retrospective time, I was in a lot of debt. And yeah, it just was just killing me, mentally, physically. Like, I wasn't eating right, and I'm supposed to be a professional athlete. And you could see it in my performances, they were very up and down. Some games would be amazing, some games would be, really bad. And that was just kind of what was going on in my life too. It was kind of portraying that as well. And yeah, it's been a part of my life for a while. I wouldn't say, as a gambling addict, I would say I'm always in recovery, because, I've had times in the past where I've done well for a while and I've slipped up. But, at this point in my life, I'd say I've got some things in place to stop me from that. I have a much better support system. I was one of those kind of people that refused to talk about my issues, thinking I can handle it myself, and not really liking to share my vulnerable side. Like, in the past, it would be used against you. And I saw that as a thing that, I was too prideful for. And yeah, I finally opened up to some family and to my close friends. My friends were definitely a part of that solution. And yeah, I mean, I'm on a better path now, and things have started to open up for me, opportunity-wise, work and basketball. So yeah, it's definitely helped.
And obviously, from that perspective, did you was there a tipping point when you realised that things had gotten out of hand, or was it just even you knew but you were just battling forward and you'll think, oh, it's something I'll sort later? How did that all work for you?
Both of those combinations happened. A lot of times I wouldn't realise what kind of mess I was in until I hit rock bottom. So I knew that I was going to get paid the next month, so I was like, okay, we'll find a way, we'll be okay, I'll get through it. But then I got to a point at the end of that first season where, I couldn't, I'd have to sneak food from my apartment, from my friend's apartment, or I couldn't afford to get a bus to my dad's house. I would be there every day just to make sure I could have dinner. And I looked at myself and I was like, I'm supposed to be a professional athlete. I'm not helping my career. I was earning enough money where I could have put some money away and really looked after myself. And I just had a lot of days where I had a lot of self-realization of damn, I'm really messing up my life. But again, because it would change each month I'd get paid, it wasn't the solution. I didn't see it as a way of, I always wanted a quick fix rather than get into the root of the issue.
And from your own, I guess, point of view from looking at this, what would you, I guess, say to people who maybe haven't spotted the signs yet? Are there any kind of key indicators that you yourself would say to look out for?
For sure. I mean, I can see, I've spotted a couple of my friends that I've seen the signs for. Someone that's, always on their phone, quite secretive when they're on their phone, kind of not really present in a lot of social situations, so either on their phone or going to the toilet a lot. Those are like the early signs. And then obviously some of the behaviors as well. Like I like to stay inside a lot more after that. A lot more physical, like, you know, biting the nails, kind of looking nervy a lot of the times. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, like when I got asked about situations, my friends did ask me, and I was very quick to shut down that kind of allegation, and which was true. But as a prideful person, as a person I didn't want to be shown any signs of vulnerability, I was quick to shut it down. So those are the quick signs to kind of look for.
And from obviously being a professional athlete's perspective, you've obviously mentioned that vulnerability side. How do you think we address this? How do you think we can help people, I guess, move on from feeling like it's a weakness or anything like that to ask for help? How do you think we move beyond that?
I think just more people coming forward, because it's so prevalent. Like I know so many of my friends that, you know, downplay the amount that they gamble. I'm seeing it from younger students now, like kids from 16 to 18 starting to get on betting apps. And because it's so easily accessible now, it can become such an intimate thing, and people would never know you're even gambling. And that's the thing about gambling as well. You know, you look at someone who has an alcohol addiction, you can see physical signs, drug addiction, physical sign. With gambling, it's one of those secret killers that you can't physically see. And normally gambling addicts don't tell you there's an issue until it's too late. And I think just people that can have a platform, like professional athletes, other people as well, the more that they speak about it and that it's okay, like I think that will help the situation a lot more.
And really, we'll kind of round out a little bit, I guess, talking about the mental health side of that as well. You mentioned family was a big part for you. Had they guessed or spotted any signs that things were kind of gonna be in trouble, or was it you did just, like, I know you mentioned shutting down the conversations? Had your parents spoke to you about that and you'd shut it down, or had it been something that maybe they just missed and then waited for you to talk to them first?
Yeah, my mum definitely knew something was going on, in terms of just like I wasn't being myself as a person. I was very depressed. I was losing a lot of weight. I couldn't afford to do anything in public, so I just stayed home a lot. And my mum could just tell that, like, my behaviours, that something was wrong, but she didn't know what it was. When I first opened up to my family, they thought it may have been like a drug addiction, because I made it a big deal. And then, yeah, they were surprised, and a lot of people would be surprised. Like, there's a lot of gambling addicts out there that you would never even know, and you wouldn't be able to tell. And yeah, for me, yeah, opening up was the best thing I did, in terms of just being honest. A lot of people that gamble, they become this person, this character that's not them. So manipulation, lying, just because you want to get that fix of betting. And I became a person that I didn't like to see in the mirror anymore. And yeah, being open and honest finally was just such a weight lifted off my shoulder.
So obviously that kind of takes us through that gambling journey. As you mentioned, always on recovery. Do you feel like it's something that you'll ever beat, or that you have to manage, that'll kind of stay with you that entire time? How is your relationship with gambling? How does it feel now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to casinos and things like that with friends and not gambled. I'm in a position where I've started to understand my brain more. I've got quite an addictive personality, and you know, I have that competitive side of me, just like in basketball. So I just know that gambling is just one of those things that's just not going to be for me. I've seen the effect that it's had on my life and others around me. And I'm not anti-gambling. Some people can gamble responsibly and live their life great, and that's absolutely fine. I just know for me personally, it's just not something that I can turn to and something that I want to do.
Well, thank you for being very open and honest with your conversation with us today, Jordan. And from there, again, just all the best and good luck in the future.
Thank you. Appreciate it.